Hello, 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 everybody. I'm not sure if you guys have seen. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this floating around in the YouTube world, but there's been a question as to Investigator Gerardo's credibility, and we've been doing some research, you guys, and finding out that there has been some concerns regarding this investigator. It's very disgusting that he's going on live, still trying to push this agenda that he he's got this credible information. But he has been investigated even in Mexico for some misconduct, guys. So let's take a look at this article. I want to give credit to, her name is Nosy Bystanders, because she's the one that pretty much found this article. And I went to go research it and found, y'all, some stuff, some issues with this Mr. Gerardo. So let's take a look at this article. You guys are going to be surprised because I sure was. Bombshell. So listen to your intuition, I would say, when you feel something is questionable about something and something in your heart doesn't feel right. Listen to your intuition. That's what I would say. So Mr. Gerardo was sanctioned in Mexico. Media fined for gender violence for a former candidate. You guys, this is messed up. This is the pretty girl. I'm sorry that her picture was kind of blurred, and that's just how they published it. This article is found on the 24-horas.com MX website. It's a Spanish. It was in Spanish, so we had to have it translated into English. But let's take a look, y'all. This Mr. Wait till y'all hear it. Anyways, so this article is out in, I cannot say this, Oaxaca. Y'all tell me how to pronounce that. I can't pronounce it. Oaxaca or whatever. It says the Specialized Chamber of Electoral Tribunal of the Judicial Power of the Federation determined that 2 digital media and 7 committed gender political violence. They said 2 digital media and 7 people committed gender political violence against the former candidate of federal deputy for the PT, Arlene Moreno Maciel, in Baja California, sir. And it was published by, again, 24horas.com. Now, amongst those 7 people, y'all, was your favorite person, yes, Investigator Gerardo Zuniga. What was going on was that these different reporters were reporting that this woman who was a candidate, she was a political candidate, basically they were saying that she was using her looks and all that to win this candidacy, when in reality it wasn't true. And there was a lawsuit that was filed. And it's starting to make sense now because this was published, you guys, June 2022. That's this year. That means this is a fresh lawsuit. And if this woman wins, he is going to be out of a lot of money. So now I'm thinking, well, is that his incentive for why now he's transitioned from, publishing on these type of cases and now trying to really hang his hat on this Shanquella case because it's gone viral, and he knows that a lot of Americans are literally desperate for information about what's going on in Mexico, about this case. And it's kind of like a vulnerable situation because they're looking for someone they can find. And he even mentions it, you guys, on the interview he did today. He's like, a lot of people in America are looking for information. And, I'm the only one that can give you this information. I am the only person you can depend upon. So let's look at this article, y'all, because this man, y'all, there's credibility issues. Anyways, so according to the judge's ruling, several publications claimed that the candidate had obtained the nomination because of her physical attributes. Basically, her physically as she looks as a woman. And one of those people that was publishing that was your favorite person. Yes, Gerardo Zuniga. Okay. So these are the Media Bureau of Political Communication, Metropoli Digital Media, as well as individuals which include Eric Ivan Murillo Mendoza. Now, one thing I'll tell you is a lot of Spanish names, they usually have two names. It'll be their mother's last name and their father's last name. So for Gerardo Zuniga, he has an additional last name. His full name is not going to just be Zuniga. It's going to have his father's name. So when I do reference his name, you're going to see his full name. He goes by Gerardo de Zuniga, but he leaves off his full name. So when I go over this, Angel Pierda Villegas, Carla Cota, Galinda Isa Garcia, and Vicente Gerardo Zuniga Pacheco. That is him. That's his full name. Okay. He only shortens it and goes by Gerardo Zuniga. And I see that a lot because in my cases, I handle a lot of cases with Spanish clients and stuff like that. Or sorry, Spanish clients, Mexican, Hispanic clients, individuals from Puerto Rico, stuff like that, individuals and stuff like that. And I notice they all usually have two last names. They'll have their mother's last name and then their father's last name. That's something I've noticed a lot from individuals from Puerto Rico, I can at least say. I know this case is not from Puerto Rico, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I know people from there. This case is in Mexico. We're talking about Cabo, Mexico. So I needed to make that clear because every time I say one little thing, people will try to misunderstand what I'm saying. But anyways, I just use that as an example to tell you culturally, they usually have two last names here. But this is his full name, Vicente Gerardo Zuniga Pacheco. He is one of the political communications here, one of the individuals. Alejandro is a part of all these other people, but I'm really focused on Gerardo Zuniga, who is one of the publications who is providing this misinformation about this woman, saying that she's using her physical appearance to win this political position. Basically, it was false information. And this woman filed a lawsuit because, they were saying false information about her. So Magistrate Luis Espindola Morales, in his draft sentence, said that these people and media used their influence and reached to demerit Arlene's candidacy in the middle of the electoral campaign. So they used their influence and reach to demerit Arlene's candidacy in the middle of the electoral campaign. That's what's saying. They used their credentials and digital media publications to basically lie about this woman, which generated an asymmetrical relationship of power. Sorry, it's late, guys, so I might misspeak because I'm about to go to bed. I'm so tired right now. So if I stumble over things, just be patient with me. Anyways, the accused took photos that the candidate had previously taken with the aim of questioning her ability to occupy the deputation and highlight her physical appearance as a relevant factor in obtaining the candidacy. It's very sad. So what they did was they took her photos, y'all, and they started just publicizing it and stuff and accusing her of saying, oh, she's just trying to use her looks to get this this position, y'all. She don't have any credibility or anything. She's just trying to seduce y'all, basically, essentially. You know what I mean? That's sad. You can imagine what stuff she was going through emotionally, hearing these false publications. They also highlighted the alleged role of their mother, who was a federal deputy at the time, in achieving that aspiration. The violence, they call this a violence in Mexico. So it's different than America, y'all. They call this a violence when you mispublish, when you say stuff like that, when a woman's using her sexuality and her looks to basically get positions. And it's wrong. It's false information. In Mexico, they call that violence. So they said the violence was such that Arlene Moreno renounced her candidacy. So she literally, it was so much for her that she stepped down. She relinquished and renounced her candidacy. That's so sad. So the people indicated will be obliged to apologize publicly. So We already mentioned the people indicated, and one of those people indicated is our favorite person, y'all. Yeah, I know I'm being sarcastic. Gerardo Zuniga. He was one of those. He was required to apologize publicly to the former candidate, and he was fined. He has to pay a fee. Okay? Now it makes sense why he's going on all these YouTube press release campaigns, because he wants you to follow his page, because all those clicks and views gets him money. He made so much money off of those clicks. So they had to apologize publicly. They will be fined. They will have to take 2 courses of gender and they'll have to take 2 courses on gender. So they have to take classes regarding gender, and they will be incorporated into the register of aggressors of the INE. Man, they got to register as an aggressor. That's kind of analogous to, in America, you have to register if somebody is like a predator or whatever, if they get convicted of like a SA charge or whatever, they have to register as an offender, an SE, you know what I mean? The SE word, 3-letter word with offender. It's kind of analogous. So they have to register y'all as aggressors of the INE. Did you see all those punishments that he had to do? And yet we trust this guy. And this is what he's doing in Mexico. It says, if they reoffend, they could lose the honest way of life, a requirement provided for in the Constitution to obtain a candidacy. The specialized chamber also made a strong call to the media to behave more carefully. Look at that. A strong call to the media. Remember, he's the Mexican media. He claims that he's one of the highly acclaimed Mexican news journalists in Mexico, and everybody relies upon him, from CNN here in America. He claimed, he went on the lead attorney's page today talking about all these American news stations are reaching out only to him for all the information. He said, I have hundreds of calls right now from all these American. But over here in Mexico, they're saying they advised him to behave carefully, since freedom of expression does not protect violence against women. In addition, he urged them to generate content that raises awareness among citizens on the subject. All I did was tell y'all yesterday that something wasn't right about the man. And just the next day, confirmation has come out. Confirmation is just coming out left and right. All I said, I only had an intuition when I talked to you guys last night. And as soon as I woke up, WCNC confirmed it with a report. I'm like, man, that was quick. Then now this is coming out. And I told you I give credit to Nosy Bystander. That girl is a researcher, I tell you. It's coming out. This man was over here in Mexico publishing lies about this woman, sexualized her, saying she's using her photos and her looks to get a public office. And it was so emotionally draining for this woman, and it psychologically impaired her to the point where she literally renounced her candidacy. That is a lot. And she sued. And he was fined. He has to pay a fee for what he did. He has to take a gender class. And he received he was reprimanded by the judge. But yeah, these big bloggers out here who want your views, they want your clicks and views, they want your money, they want your cash apps, all that stuff. So they're exploiting this man, and he's exploiting them too, because he's getting all these clicks and views. And just the video today on the other blogger's channel, he was just saying, oh, everybody's worshiping me. I got 100 messages today. Really? And he's still swearing up and down. He's saying that the U.S. is secretly harboring Diogenes. And I'm not saying her name right, so don't judge me. I made that name up myself. I know her name's Dejane or whatever, but I say Diogene. So don't come for me. But can you guys believe this? It's like confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. It was just based on the intuition. And look at this, y'all. That is sad. What he did to this woman. The violence of such. And in Mexico, they don't play. That's why they have a crime called femicide in Mexico, whereas we don't have that in America. They take women's rights seriously, apparently, it seems, in Mexico, because they call this gender violence. In America, they call this slander, defamation of character. You know, they call it that here in America, but in Mexico, if you say something like this, it's gender violence. And the judge ruled against Mr. Gerardo Zuniga Pacheco. He ain't gonna give it a full name, y'all. That's crazy, y'all. And they're obliged to apologize publicly. So that makes sense to me now. That explains why he is now trying to report on this American case, because he knows he's lost credibility in Mexico. He's literally one of the journalists that was sanctioned. And he has to register. Y'all know how devastating it is to register. He has to register as an aggressor of the INE. Like I said, that's kind of analogous to, you know, offenders in the US when they get convicted, they got to register as a ex-offender, you know what I mean? With the S word on the beginning. Analogous to that. Or in DV cases, stuff like that. So that explains why he's now over here in America, because he knows we don't know about stuff like this. We don't, a lot of us folks, I'm Black, you know, we don't be sitting here looking at Mexican news and outlets and journalists. He didn't think we were going to find this stuff. He thought we were going to be blinded. And by all the words he said, notice how these deceivers, they will gas themselves up. And I was telling you how he was gassing himself up. In my very first video about this yesterday, I said he was talking about how he had 27 years of experience and how he has an award from 2019 and 2018. I actually, oh man, let me see if guys, let me show y'all something though. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all just in case he try to, because you know what? Hold on, let me show you. Because he actually wrote a report on this, trying to talk about Arlene Moreno was harassing him and all this stuff. So he wrote a little response because he got mad about this whole situation. So I'm going to show you what I found on him too. We're going to read it together, y'all. So this was published June 28th, 2020. And the other article that I read to you was June 10th. So in this article was from your friend, y'all's friend. Y'all love this man, Gerardo Zuniga. I can't say that man's name for anything. But anyway, he says, the official Arlene Moreno Maciel promotes and incites hatred against the director of Metropolmex, misusing an electoral sentence. So he acknowledges, number one, that this is true, y'all, because this is his website. This is Metropolmex. Remember, he's the director of Metropolmex. Look at who it's by. He had published this after the fact, after the judge made that ruling against him. He's now angry at this woman, Arlene. And so now he makes a publication. He makes another little article on his little page, mad about it, talking about Arlene Moreno Maciel promotes and incites hatred against the director of Metropolmex. Remember who the director of Metropolmex is? We talked about this on my other video. If you don't remember who that is, you got to watch the one I just did on extradition. The director of Metropolmex is Gerardo Zuniga, the guy that y'all love out there who's on all these blogs doing the press tour. Number one, he acknowledges who Arlene is. So he can't now come back now that we just exposed him and say he doesn't know her and that we're lying, because he just acknowledged who she was on his article that he wrote June 28th, 2022 after that article that was published on June 10th that I just read to you. And now he's saying that Arlene has promoted and incited hatred and violence. Let's read what he had to say against in his defense. I don't believe nothing this article say, but y'all see what y'all say. This is his little response. He says the legal representatives of Medios Digital's Metropolmics, Gerardo Zuniga, remember your favorite guy, filed a criminal complaint this morning against the director of the Child Development Center, Tierra y Libertad, Arlene Moreno Maciel, for the crime of discrimination. And this sounds like a retaliatory complaint he's filing after the fact, after he has just lost this lawsuit. Now, all of a sudden, he's going after this girl because she sued him, in my opinion. It seems like he's retaliating. He said, the above, after promoting and inciting hatred and violence against the journalist, winner of the State Journalism Award. Remember how he's always trying to promote himself and make him better than, look, the State Journalism Award 2022, both in his own social networks and that of other communicators. The complaint was registered under the file number, and this is his file number if y'all want to look that up, because we're going to have to know what happens with this case. I want to see what actually happened because I don't trust anything he says, which was sent to the specialized unit of the attention of crimes committed against freedom of expression, against human rights defenders and their judiciary of the Attorney General's office of the state of Baja California. So what he did was, after she sued him, so she sued him, remember we just talked about that, and she got a ruling in her favor. The court said, we agree with you. We think this was gender violence. This person is going to be sanctioned. He's fined now. He's going to have to register as, as they mentioned, register as, let me go and make sure I say this right, y'all, because y'all know I'm going to be, he had to register, y'all. Register as an aggressor of the INE. And he had to take 2 courses on gender. Now, he got mad, in my opinion. And so what he did was he retaliated and filed criminal charges against her for discrimination, because she spoke out against him and said, I didn't like what you did to me. It caused emotional distress to me to the point where I had to renounce my candidacy. And now he got mad about it. And you could just tell how mad he is. He's going to file a criminal complaint with the attorney generals. I wonder if he buddy with this attorney general, because he claimed up and down they just best friends, and he has all this firsthand knowledge from this attorney general. But anyway, he said, in the complaint, the journalists explained that the public servant and member of the PT, Arlene Moreno Maciel, has been misusing the ruling of the Electoral Tribunal. So this is right here where he acknowledges the ruling. So he cannot come back and say that article is false, because we are now showing you on the metropolemics.com website, the very site that he is director of, he is acknowledging who Arlene is. He is acknowledging that there was a ruling against him of the Electoral Tribunal. He's saying that she's misusing that ruling. No, he just mad. He says, discriminating against the communicator and making comments that provoke and incite hatred and violence. Just because she's speaking out and saying, what he did, he don't like that. Assuming that by the electoral sentence, she enjoys immunity to the publicly insult the director of the media outlet, using prerogatives such as machito, and presuming that he knocks down sentences at will, mocking that was ordered by the superior chamber at the last minute resolution changed when it would come out in the favor of Metropolmics. Okay, let's see what it says. So he's saying he knocks down sentences at will, mocking that was ordered by the superior chamber at the last minute resolution changed when it would come out in the favor of Metropolmics. I don't know if I believe that. The harassment has reached such a point that Arlene Moreno Maciel has entered official media pages such as 365 mocking and saying that they're going to ask for forgiveness for 5 minutes, causing other people to insult the communicator. So I can't understand what she's saying. Y'all, if y'all Spanish in here, y'all tell me what this is. I don't know what this means. Somebody translate. He's saying he's using this as his evidence to say she is basically mocking him and everything like that. No, she is standing up for herself because of what you did. to her. What you did to this woman, you don't like the fact that she got a ruling in her favor, and now you're retaliating against her by filing a bogus criminal charge, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's a bogus criminal charge because he doesn't like the fact that she won a lawsuit against him and he had to pay a fine. He don't like that. In addition, the employee of the Ministry of Public Education asked members of the organizing committee of the State Journalism Award 2022. Here you go again, y'all, with these awards. You always talking about these awards he got. These awards don't mean anything when you don't have credibility. I'm sorry. They're just a piece of paper, whatever it is, a little metal. But his actions have not shown. If he has a history of committing gender violence upon a political candidate, that is showing to me that he has a history of problems in journalism. And he's using it to harm people, not do good. He used his platform to harass this woman. He used his platform to sexually harass her. In my opinion, by giving this misinformation, basically reducing her down to her physical appearance, not based upon the facts of what is her qualifications, what is her experience in that political field or whatever position she wants, what are her credentials or lack thereof. If you don't like a candidate, talk about what you don't like, not about how she looks. What about, okay, what is her history in certain policies that she's worked or advocated for? You see what I'm saying? This man who is over here trying to advocate for this Black American woman all of a sudden has a history of reducing a political candidate who is a woman down to her physical appearance. How can we trust that he actually legitimately now cares about this Black American woman? Do you really believe it? I don't. I do not. Oh, Lord, this pop-up. Sorry, guys. If you don't stop popping up. All right, guys, I'll let it do it. Anywho, it says, this is from him. He says, it should be noted that the meaning of the sentence is not to violate the honor and public morality of the communicator. See, he has to retract right here. He's trying to be careful because he knows she can go ahead and file another lawsuit for this fake publication. So he's going to talk about, it should be noted. Oh, I missed this part. In addition, the employee of Ministry of Public Education asked members of the organizing committee of the State Journalism Award 2022 to withdraw the Communicators Award, maximizing the effects of the electoral sentence. So what she did was, after she won her lawsuit, she went to the organizing committee of the State Journalism to ask them to retract their award that they gave her in 2022, which I think is legitimate. Okay. I think it's a legitimate request. If he's already been found to commit gender violence, then yes, they should retract this award, because how is he some acclaimed journalist when he's over here harassing people, sexualizing them instead of looking at their credentials and qualifications? So I don't see how she's discriminating. Anyways, he says, well, if this don't, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. This is a new computer, guys. So, oh gosh, what is it doing? Sorry, guys. This thing, it's a new computer, so it is annoying. I'm going to have to just remove that. Can you guys still see this? I wonder if you can still see it. So with that being said, as you could see in that article, what I showed you guys is that he is mad now because Arlene did the ethical thing to go and say, no, she went to the committee and said, you need to retract that. Okay, you need to retract that. Okay. And he said, oh, well, she's trying to maximize. She is trying to maximize the punishment against me. Okay, so just letting you guys know, there's more and more stuff coming out. Like you're saying, other bloggers are coming out with stuff. So just trust but verify. And Layback says, Queens, but we can't expect things in Mexico to be a little shaky, reporting half truth, half lie. Girl, you don't have to believe anything. I'm reporting to those that are my subscribers. Okay, so if you don't want to listen, that's on you. I'm talking to those people who are willing to try to listen and hear the information and try to use their critical thinking to assess whether or not they can trust a certain person. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, that's fine, girl. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. And you know what, Chai? The reason why they're putting his name on there, because it looks like he doesn't have any issue with his picture being up. I mean, he's gone on a literal YouTube tour, honey. He's going on a tour. If he was so afraid for his identity, he wouldn't be doing that. He would have requested them to, hide his identity. He's not doing that. This man seems like a very toxic journalist, in my opinion. I mean, just looking at that information and what you were saying, what was she saying? She was saying, oh, how do we know for sure this information is true or not? Well, I just showed you an article on his website acknowledging the fact that there was, in fact, a court ruling. He acknowledged it. He acknowledged who she was. He acknowledged the court ruling against him. So what more do you want? That's just a person who just doesn't want to listen to the truth. I went exactly to Metropolmic's website. He acknowledged the director of Metropolmics. That's who Gerardo Zuniga is. He acknowledged who Arlene Moreno was on that article. He acknowledged it. So I don't know what else to tell you, honey. If you don't want to try to listen to the information that's being presented, and I already gave you the sources, girl, that's on you. You can continue to listen and be deceived. That's at this point, you no longer can get mad if you find the information is not credible. That's on you. I showed you where he acknowledged he knows the woman and he knows what ruling the court had. So I made sure I verified it, girl, with his own words on his own article that he wrote on his website. So, all right, guys, you guys have a beautiful, lovely night. And let me know what you think. Take care.